For the dynamic stretching, we will need a lane going from the baseline to the free throw line on the basketball court. I will then get her to do a light pulse raiser by running to the halfway line at 50% maximal effort, then repeat this, increasing intensity up to 80%. Exercise session content 3. Main content. Activities or drills. In the main part of the session, we will be working on muscular endurance and muscular strength, because these two components of fitness are very weak for my client with below average results. To start, my client will row for 10 minutes, working at 60% to 80% of her maximal heart rate by keeping the rowing at 200 to 230. This will improve her muscular endurance, which will allow her to run longer in a netball game, meaning she can stay on for longer periods of time. Next, my client will do a mini circuit consisting of 1 minute plank and squats for 1 minute with 3 kilogram weights. Repeat. This will be repeated 3 times. Then they will have a 30-second break in between each changeover. This will improve her muscular strength in her legs, allowing her to push off and get down the court faster. Rowing. The main activity will be 10 minutes of rowing, which will be kept within the 200 to 230 range. This will keep the intensity high throughout the session. Plank. The plank will be 1 minute with a 30-second break. When done, this will be done to improve her muscular endurance in her core, which will help with balance when controlling the ball and footwork. Squats. The squats will be for 1 minute, and they will improve muscular strength in her legs, which will help her push off from standing, get free, and move down the court faster. Exercise session content 4. Cool down. The cool down is to lower the heart rate back down to the normal resting heart rate, and to reduce the amount of lactic acid which builds up in the muscles. I'll start by doing light dynamic stretches from the baseline to just above the free throw line. This will consist of ankle sweeps, walking out on your tiptoes whilst making circular movements with your arms, then walking on your heels whilst making circular movements going in the other direction, and knee peels. This will be followed by light static stretching, which will consist of child pose, touching your toes, sitting down, leg swings, chest stretch, lower back stretch, and quadricep stretch. Next, we will do light foam rolling to get rid of any lost lactic acid, especially in the legs. It will also mentally calm my client, which will make her more relaxed. By doing the dynamic stretches first and the static stretches second, we will lower the heart rate at a steady pace, which will be less painful for the next day. While cooling down, the heart rate will return to normal resting heart rate, and the blood pressure will decrease due to the blood not needing to go to the muscles as fast to give them the oxygen as she is stopping her exercise. Ending the session, I will tell her all the things that she did well in the session. For example, if she kept going on the rowing machine even though she was getting extremely tired. I will also ask her how she felt the session went before ending and the session there. Photographic evidence of my session. Session review. Aims. The aims were to improve muscular endurance, muscular strength, and her overall fitness, which I feel we achieved due to her working at 70 to 80% of her maximal heart rate for muscular endurance. I also felt that we hit our aims for muscular strength, as after the workout she said she could feel the lactic acid building up. She was also managing when we were decreasing the resting time, showing that her muscular strength is improving. However, to see further improvements, we would have to reassess later in the 6 weeks. Clients' feedback. My client said that I made a good and intense session which pushed her to work hard. She also said that it was well structured and laid out, having a progression. However, my client said that the circuit was too short, having only 2 activities, making it very short. You could have added, for example, push-ups or press-ups, which would have made it more interesting and would have been more working on more different muscle groups, not just the leg and abdominal muscles, which would have improved her muscular strength as a whole much better. Peer observer feedback. My peer observer said that my session was well structured and that it improved her muscular endurance and muscular strength. However, he said that when I was doing the rowing activity with my client, I could have been lower down instead of standing behind, as this would make the session more personal and would have increased the level of enjoyment due to being on the same level. This would let you be able to have a conversation with her. He also said that I should have had more exercise drills to do in the circuit, which will increase the muscular endurance in all areas, but it will also improve the level of enjoyment, as there will be more to do and less of the same stuff, making it less repetitive. Strengths and areas for development regarding leading my session. Strengths. It was well structured, meaning there was a nice progression from working on muscular endurance to muscular strength. There was a good warm-up and cool-down, which focused on the muscles, on stretching the muscles which were used in the session. Good communication with the client and gave clear points when explaining examples and demonstrations. Areas for improvement. The circuit was too short. You could improve this by adding more exercise drills to the circuit. Could have been more interactive with the client. For example, when she was rowing, you could have kneeled down to be at her level. In the warm-up, you didn't need static stretching at the beginning, as the study found that static stretching doesn't help when warming up. Program review. Program aims. My aims in the program were to improve my client's cardiovascular endurance, to improve my client's overall flexibility, to improve my client's muscular endurance, to improve my client's muscular strength, and finally to improve my client's overall fitness levels. How are these aims specific to the client's aims, and how will they be measured to check for success? Flexibility is important to improve as it's her component of fitness that she wants to improve overall. Cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance, and muscular strength are her weakest components of fitness when looking at the tests we did. Muscular endurance is important as it's one of her weakest components of fitness, which is important for a netball player as it will mean she can keep throwing long passes and push off harder, giving a more faster acceleration up the court. The strength is important for a netball player as it allows her to hold her ground when catching the ball against defenders and keep her balance when being marked. We will measure the success of the 6-week program by doing the same fitness drills we did for week 1 as week 6. However, we will increase the intensity by decreasing the break and increasing the reps and time of the activity. This will show the improvements from week 1 to week 6, which will give my client a self-confidence